This paper is about the Sondam Rhythm Game, a gesture-based rhythm game that assists in teaching Sondam manual sign language for children with intellectual development disability. A Sondam, a Korean manual sign system characterized by body movement paired with speech, is a communication method for children with IDD. For literature reviews and expert group interview, we derived that the existing Sondam education method has several limitations. There are three challenges. First, children have a short attention span. Second, there is some visual perception issue. And lastly, they have challenge of memorization and habituation. To address this issue, we proposed the Sondam Rhythm Game. The game's goals are to enhance concentration, promote the voluntary imitation of children's gesture, and improve memorization. As I mentioned before, through workshop with 6 teachers, we conceptualized the difficulty of Sondam teaching. And we derived 3 game strategies to enhance the learning impact. We designed the Sondam Rhythm Game based on this strategy with using children's songs and positive feedback. After selecting a children's song for game running, we are manual sign gesture run in preview mode. Then they could run through rhythm game mode. To identify the usefulness of our game, we conducted a comparative study. We analyzed the 16 Sondam words, including the 4 children's songs, compared between the traditional video-based learning method and our game-based learning method. The video method is the process of running gesture with the teacher after watching in the video described by teacher in the video.
양손을 펴서
On the other hand, the game methods running through rhythm game after looking at running word in the preview mode. Initially, we recruit 9 teachers and 12 students and divide to group A and B. However, due to COVID restriction, 4 students were excluded in middle of the experiment. Group A and B run the same word set in different learning method. The development study was conducted remotely in the classroom with the teachers for 4 weeks. Teachers do assign gesture to students according to each group's schedule, and then they finish with a short record test and post survey. We analyze videos, questionnaire, poster interview, and daily report to confirm whether our game solved 3 issues compared to the traditional video learning method. To analyze student concentration and motivation, we look at 5 behavioral barriers such as the need for intervention and behavior of distraction through video annotation. As a result, it was found that overall the game running method increased concentration and motivation compared to the traditional video running method. As shown in the presentation, children show higher focus and less distractibility in game running compared to video running. However, this result of game running was not reflected in all students. For example, Hyun was observed in singing and missed the timing for gesture making with game running. We annotated 3 behavioral barriers to confirm student frequent voluntary gesture imitation, gesture without prompt, and gesture with verbal and physics prompt. We also found that overall the game running method increased the number of voluntary gestures of children compared to the traditional video learning method. The video method found the verbal and physical intervention of teacher in children's gesture performance. But in the game method, we found that students voluntarily perform gesture while playing the game. Most children show more positive reaction to game-based learning instead of video-based learning. However, the learning impact of game-based learning depends on familiarization with the game and the children's individual learning style, such as preferring teacher interaction or preference for song. Although our system attracted the children's initial attention, game-based learning still needs improvement as a learning tool, with more content and director intervention either from the system or teachers to keep children motivation and focuses. We analyze whether our method increases the concentration and motivation of students and reduces the teacher's burden through voluntary gesture imitation of students and increases the memory and accuracy of students. We additionally receive feedback on rhythm game based learning through post interview. We derive three primary design considerations. Firstly, when using characters that perform gesture, we should use more sophisticated and exactly characters movements. Second, precise and quantitative feedback should be possible through gesture recognition technology. And finally, game elements should be designed in various ways to be applied in consideration of disability tendency. This study introduced more efficient methodology for running manual sign language Sondam for children with IDD. We found that gesture-based reading game can support manual sign learning with similar performance to the traditional video-based learning method. The game was especially effective at maintaining attention and eliciting voluntary gesture without teachers' prompt for the children with IDD. Thank you for watching and have a good time with Kai Conference.